Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk Books. I'm doing a review of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, but it's going to be completely filled with spoils. So if you read this book, you want to hear my thoughts, watch this and we'll write down below all the spoilers that there are. But I also have a spoiler-free review if you want to check out as well. Okay people, God, it was so hard talking about Riley's and Lily's relationship. How much I loved it, knowing the outcome of their relationship. It just breaks my heart so much. When he first laid his hands on her, when he first pushed her, I couldn't turn the page. I didn't want to believe it. Man that I fell in love with, you know, in this way, that was not him. Like, I remember laughing so hard when he burnt himself and she was laughing, because that's something I would do. I would laugh because sometimes you have to laugh when things just go wrong, right? And that's something I would do. And I was just thinking, if I was with a man, like, and I laughed, that could be me. He couldn't have pushed me and I could have hit my head. And I just didn't want to believe that that is what was happening, because the first time we meet him on the roof, oh my God, he was just so perfect. And I know sometimes it's too good to be true, but come on, we all read new adult books and YA books. They're all too good, you know, because that's what books are about, you know? They're all perfect, right? And I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect him to put his hands on her. And then the way that he was talking, how he was talking like her father, I was like, no, this can't happen. Like, I was ready to talk about so many things in this review that were good. I was ready to talk about that stethoscope. Is that what it's called? That thing that you hear your heartbeat. I was like flabbergasted by that scene. I was just like, ugh. So many things that he did that I just love. I love how he came to her apartment and he knocked on 29 doors and it was just so romantic and cute, and he was just everything. On paper he was everything. He was a doctor. He, you know, was gonna be rich, and he was beautiful and built and charming and all things we all want in a man, and everything she wanted in a man. But ultimately there was something way deeper inside of him we were not aware of. And when that time came when we found out that he shot his brother, I couldn't sympathize with him. I was just so angry at Colleen at the time, because I was like, God, why didn't you make him into a monster? Why didn't you make him into that guy that we all hate? But those guys exist, right? It's heartbreaking to know that she had to end up falling in love with a man who was just like her father. And that is what broke my heart even more, because she didn't deserve that. She went through enough hell seeing her mother go through that. And then to witness the love of her life hit her, pushed her down the stairs, tried to rape her. Again, I was beyond speechless. I'm so heartbroken that he ended up being that type of man. God, this book, I've never been so cheated of my emotions in my life when it came to reading a book. I just went from, like I said, in the scene where he hits her for the first time, I went from laughing to being like, no. I'm still like so in shock. How his pattern was starting to evolve more of the kind of abusive man that he ultimately is. It tore me to shreds, because it was like, I don't even know you. So I could just imagine being in that predicament of falling in love with a man and him abusing you and feeling like you don't even know who you fell in love with. But then being confused because you actually did fall in love with a man and you don't know where he is, but he's in there and you want him to come out, but you can't save nobody, okay? You cannot. Like, she wanted to save him and she wanted to make it work, but you can't save someone like that. Most of the time, abusers normally are victims, and even though he was never abused, he didn't have a really shady thing happen to him. There was no excuse for his behavior. Always think it's our fault, and that's what I loved about Lily the most. she never blamed herself. She never said, what did I do? She always stayed true to who she was. She just didn't let the abuse fully affect her. It affected her halfway, but it never took over her. And that's what I love the most. And even to the end, I still really loved their naked truth. I loved it even more in the beginning because, you know, falling for him and falling for their relationship. But I do like how their honest truth still played a role at the end. And I still like that they worked themselves out, you know, with having a baby and all. But the moment I became the most proud of Illy was when all her anger just fell to the floor. She was just yelling at him. When he says, you have no idea what I've been through. When she just exploded on him, I was so proud of her. I was like, yes, you tell him what you went through because of him. When I knew that she was going to make the right choice and divorce his ass. Okay, she was going to have that baby and she was going to take care of her and do what her mother did not do. Make her not witness the abuse. When she gave birth and he was holding her. And when she finally told him, we're gonna have a divorce. She was saying, what would you do if she said, Daddy, he hit me. He pushed me down the stairs. And when he finally said, I would tell her to leave him. And I had hope for him. I really did, because not that he gets a second chance with her, but he gets a second chance at his own life. If that makes sense, like he gets a second chance at going to anger management, getting help. That ship has sailed with her. But now that he has a child, he can learn to be a better person. So I think when he finally realized it, why Illy made that choice, he finally realized it. There is hope for him. He still, I have words for him. He's still not good, but there is hope for people like him. If they want on it, if they could work at it, there is hope. And then also when she spoke to her mom, don't get me started on that. When her mom said that she was proud of her for being the only person who was by her mom's side, and that just ripped my heart. And then she said, be that girl, Illy, brave and bold. Oh my God. You know, I thought about, oh, what if that was my mom? So I just lost it like I am now. So yeah. But I was so thankful for a man called Atlas. Her journals where she writes to Ellen, which, oh my God, like I loved it all. But just when she would write to her and talk about the relationship between Atlas, he broke my heart with the things that he had to go through. And that scene where her father beat him with a bat, my jaw was just on the floor. I was just, it was hard. It was really hard. When he appears again, and I was just like, oh my God, is that Atlas? I did not know if Atlas was going to be in the present time. And when he was, I was like, oh my God. And I just loved how a lot of things from the past came like full circle. Like her heart tattoo, the Boston magnet. She always kept him in her heart. And even though she met Riley and he was perfect, Atlas was still #1 because he did so much for her at a time where she needed someone the most. He was there for her. So many things happened in this book. But when Atlas gave her the phone number, she finally did use it. I didn't want it to come to all that, but I knew that it would. And I just loved just how open he was to her. And the way that he knew deep down that Riley was not a good man. I forgot exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of, when you're ready to fall in love, you know, choose me. I knew she would choose him. You know, after the baby was born, after time went on and they meet again for the first time. That epilogue, I was sobbing. She ran back to him and said, you know, her middle name is Dory. I was like, oh, I couldn't stop myself. But the part that got me the most was something so simple as a reference from Finding Nemo. You can stop swimming now, Lit Illy. We finally reached the shore. They sure did. You know, he came such a long way from his life, from going homeless to the military to owning his own restaurant, actually 2 at the end. And Lit Illy, who had to deal with a man who abused her own mother, to getting out of that and going to school and owning her own business or something that she loves, to finding a man that she fell in love with again, who abused her, then found that strength again to leave him and to raise a child on her own. Speechless. And the note to author came. I was like, there's more emotion. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to hug you, Colleen. I wanted to. It takes a lot to express to millions of people what you went through. So thank you for being that honest. If you read this book, I hope you did. You're watching this. I hope you have these same emotions as me. I will cherish this book forever and ever. Tell everyone to read it because they have to, okay? They have to read this book. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.